Hello everyone, welcome again. This will be an introduction video to big data. In this video, I will talk about what is big data, characteristics of big data, why not traditional system, why should we use Hadoop, data storage in HDFS, limitations of Hadoop and its solutions. So, what is big data? Big data refers to a large volume of data that cannot be stored and processed using the traditional computing approach within a given time frame. So it says that any huge data that cannot be stored and processed using traditional approach is called big data. So where this data is coming from? The data might be coming from various sources like social networking sites, websites, or any user interactions over the web. We call that as social data. And we also have mission data, which comes from production missions, IoT devices, sensors, and any other kind of missions. And we also have transactional data, which comes from electronic transactions that might happen over the web or it might happen off-site also. So how big the data should be to qualify as a big data? So can we call 1 TB of data as big or 1 TB or 1 GB of data as big? It depends on the context where we are using that big data term. Let us assume we are storing images or videos worth 1 GB in our laptop or personal computer. This image or video is a file, and we have multiple files worth 1 GB in our laptop. We may want to edit the data and process the data, do something on top of the data we have. So 1 GB can be handled very easily by a personal computer. What if the data is 10 TB and we want to edit that 10 TB of data in a personal computer? It is very difficult and almost impossible to process 10 TB of data in personal computers, right? In this context, 10 TB can be assumed as big data. Now let us take another scenario where we are sending an email and trying to attach a file with more than 100 MB. If we are using Gmail, it will notify that 100 MB is the maximum allowed size for an attachment. In this context, 100 MB is big. Now that we are clear that how big should be called as big data, there is something unique about this big data coming from various sources. This uniqueness is called characteristics of big data. Characteristics of big data are also called as 5 V's of big data. The first V stands for volume. Volume is the amount of data that is getting generated. As the amount is very high, the volume of data that is getting generated is also very high. And next V stands for velocity. Velocity is the speed at which data is coming. And variety. Variety is different types of data that we are handling. So there would be structured, unstructured, and semi-structured data. And the other V is veracity. Veracity is the accuracy of the data that is coming to us. So data might be correct or incorrect. So veracity stands for the correctness of data. And the last V stands for value. It means that the amount of insights that we can generate from the data that we have. So these are the 5 V's of big data. Now that we have seen a lot about big data, let us see why traditional systems are not capable of handling big data, or why don't we prefer traditional system for handling big data related tasks. So when I say traditional system, it's basically our RDBMS. Assume this box as our system or traditional system. It's basically a highly configured machine which has some amount of RAM, CPU for processing, and storage associated with it. Now assume that we have 512 GB of storage available for this traditional system. 512 GB is generally very low. Just for an assumption, let us assume that we have 512 GB of storage. And in this scenario, let us assume that we are storing all the data that is coming from a website or any of the social networking site in the system. Our website is generating enormous amount of data every day, and this 512 is full at some point of time. So what our traditional system tells us is to increase the storage capacity, increase it to some other number. Let us say we increased to 1 TB, and even 1 TB is also full. What do? We increase to 2 TB, 3 TB, and it's full. This way of increasing the storage or RAM or cores for a traditional system is called vertical scaling. So we are increasing the capacity of our system vertically, and there is one problem associated with it. We cannot keep on increasing this forever. There is a limitation up to which this storage or CPU or RAM can be increased. So when we reach that threshold point, we should not be able to increase it anymore. So what is the solution for it, and how Hadoop is going to solve this problem? Now let us assume that we have a node which is also called as a machine with some CPU, RAM and storage. If node 1 is full, like if we have 512 GB in node 1, if the 512 GB is full, what Hadoop tells us is to add one more node instead of increasing the capacity to node 1 itself. So we added node 2. What if node 2 is also full? Then we add one more node and then one more node. We keep on doing this addition forever. And this process of adding nodes when the data is full is called as horizontal scaling. So Hadoop is going to solve our problem with vertical scaling in traditional system by using horizontal scaling. Now our system has four nodes, and let us put let us see this entire system into a single box. So let this big box under all those four nodes be our entire system. This entire system has a RAM of RAM 1 and RAM 2, RAM 3 and RAM 4 added together. So we have enough RAM for our system now. And what would be the CPU? So it will be sum of the CPU power of all the nodes, and same with the storage. So we have the storage added up together. So this is our entire system now. So node 1, node 2, node 3 and node 4 are individual nodes in our system, and our entire system is the bottom one. So how do we name our entire system is that as the nodes are distributed, we call this as Hadoop distributed file system, or it is also called as Hadoop cluster. Now let us see that do we have any physical machine in these components which has a RAM equal to or equal to the RAM of our system? No, right? Node 1 has its own RAM, node 2 has its own RAM, node 3 has its own RAM, and same with node 4. So these are the individual physical machines. But what we see in HDFS or Hadoop distributed file system is that the aggregation of all these nodes, and the physical machine with the capacity of all these nodes is not actually present in our cluster. So it is just the virtual file system. So our Hadoop distributed file system is a virtual file system. Hope it is clear until now. Now let us see how Hadoop is going to store data in this HDFS or this virtual file system. Hadoop uses a principle called WARM. WARM stands for write once, read multiple times. So what does this actually mean is that we are going to generate a lot of data. We are going to store a big data that is getting generated from various sources, and we are storing it in HDFS. We will be writing that data only once, and the same data will be used for multiple purposes. Like we might want to do analytics on top of that data, we might want to generate some insights on top of data, we might want to process that data for some other purposes, we might want to clean the data and do anything on top of data. These are the various requirements that we have out of the data that is present in HDFS. So we will be reading that data multiple times for multiple purposes, and we would be able to read that. And while writing it, we write that data only once in Hadoop. So let us see how Hadoop is going to handle that writes. Let us assume that we have a file of 300 MB of size. This file will be split into data blocks of 128 MB each. Why 128 MB? The 128 MB is the default block size in Hadoop. So these blocks B1, B2, B3 are called data blocks, and the default size of data blocks is 128 MB, and we can configure the block size. We can increase or decrease it based on our requirement. So now our block B1 has 128 MB, B2 has 128 MB, and B3 has 44 MB only, because only 44 MB out of the 300 MB is available after splitting B1 and B2. So how Hadoop is going to write this data is our point. So let us take our cluster here with 4 nodes, and what Hadoop does is it will put B1 in one node, B2 in other node, and B3 in the other node. So data is stored as blocks of 128 MB size in Hadoop, and all the data is not getting stored in only one node, and it is not necessary that the blocks would be stored in order which I tell. So blocks would be stored randomly across any of the nodes present in the cluster. So now that we understood how data is getting stored in HDFS, well, this is about Hadoop, and there are also some limitations associated with Hadoop. So what are those limitations, and what are the solutions for those limitations? The very first limitation is that Hadoop is available for free, but the underlying hardware is not free. So this is the biggest problem. So what Hadoop tells us is you can use commodity hardware for all of your nodes in HDFS. Like for increasing the nodes, we can use commodity hardware instead of using highly configurable machines as we have in the traditional system. So are commodity hardware not costly? When we think about a personal or individual perspective, it would be costly, but for an industry or an organization, commodity hardware is almost of negligible price for them. And so, well, that now we are able to solve the problem of underlying hardware. And the other problem is, what if one node goes down and we lose a block from HDFS? Our file would be corrupt. So if we if a node goes down, our file will be corrupt, but Hadoop will take care of it by doing data replication. Whenever we are storing data in Hadoop, data will be replicated across multiple nodes. The block B1, B2, and B3 will be stored across multiple nodes. When I say multiple, it stores data in 3 nodes. By default, the data replication factor in Hadoop is 3. So same data would be stored in 3 nodes. That is how Hadoop is solving this problem. There are other problems associated with Hadoop. They are small file problem. This small file problem itself is a separate topic I'll be discussing in other video. And we have no real-time processing in Hadoop. Hadoop is only capable of doing uh, batch processing, and we cannot do any real-time processing with Hadoop. And for real-time processing, we can use Spark or Flink or any other components that are available. And Hadoop is not suitable for small data. Hadoop is designed only for big data, and it is not suitable for small data. When we use for small data, it might affect the performance of the processing. And in this video, I have done my best to explain the concept surrounding big data in the simplest way I can. Big data and related technologies such as Hadoop will stay as long as the data is there and it keeps on growing. Investing time in learning big data would be a right decision. So, in case you are interested in learning more about big data and its related technologies, I would recommend you to subscribing to this channel. I'll be adding plenty of videos related to big data and its related technologies. Thanks for watching.